Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report, and I promise you this, today's live show will be better than ESPN's NBA draft coverage. And for anybody out there that is looking for actual NBA draft coverage, our chat sports team has got you covered. You can go subscribe over there. We got 412,000 subs. I guarantee you, our team's going to know 10 times more than what ESPN does. Coming up here live on today's show, I got some NFL news that I think Raiders fans should know about because there was a move yesterday, and there was a move that happened today that I do wonder could impact Pete Carroll and John Spytek's ability, or could this potentially force them to make a move? I am somebody that always believed that the NFL and a lot of professional league sports, dominoes happen. When one domino falls, could you see multiple other dominoes fall? I'm going to talk about what that domino was coming up here on today's show. And since it's Thursday, we are going to do a mailbag. So if you want to get your questions, your comments up here on the screen, you can use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to skip the line. The other thing that I got going on today is a duck race. It's going to be a $10 Venmo for you to win a little bit of money. I also got a challenge, and I'm going to throw this challenge out there, and this is something that I'm going to do in the offseason for Thursday live shows because, again, we go live every single Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. First off, I got a question. How many people that were watching this show right now were watching Jeremy and I on Thursday Night Football last season? If you were one of those people, type me down below. We're going to start spamming, and we're going to give some shout-outs here on today's episode. Right now, we got 180 people in the building. Love to see it because I would say this. What I'm about to do for my challenge is going to line up for something that Jeremy and I used to do for every single Thursday Night Football show. And I'm not going to lie, I want to see who's rocking with us on Thursday night during the season, and I want to see who's rocking with us here in the middle of June. I see Rebel. I already knew you, Reb. King Shav, 916 Raider. Love to see it. Andrew, Lowlife, Roger, Gary Backus, Andrew Valdez here in the building. James Posada, Armin, Roger Maggs, Steven Stockott, and I saw somebody ask about a tuna top 5. Jeremy's got a good tuna top 5 for you today that it literally was one of the top things that the Chat Sports Studio was talking about today, debating about.
It's a pretty fun question.
We'll get to it. I think you're going to get some people. It's going to be probably the most passionate debate that we get to here on today's show. Now, I do have a question for you, and we're talking about priorities here because I think in the offseason, if you're an organization, you got to set the priority.
Oh, it went right through my mitts.
Oh,
went right through my mitts.
Sorry, I made you ink. What do you think out of the 4 things up on screen right now is the biggest priority for the Raiders? And when I think of priority, again, this is probably trying to get something done by training camp. And I bring this up because a video that Jeremy and I recorded earlier today, it's going to go out later in the week. I don't know what day exactly it's going to go out, but we're talking about priorities. Jakobi Meyers, Kolton Miller, sign a free safety or sign a corner. Let's go. Hear me out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of those numbers, if you were with Pete and if you were with John, what are you doing? What's your priority first?
Can't say all the above.
Yeah, you can't do that. Because I'll tell you this. I mean, you have to admit, though, when you were in high school, middle school, and you were doing a question and you didn't know the answer, and if it said D, all the above, I was circling that one.
It's like you're in elementary school and they're like, you want a chocolate or vanilla cupcake? And you're like, I'll take both. Like, no, you get one. Go to the principal, Mitch.
Yeah, I've only been to the principal's office once in high school.
It was for licking cupcakes.
No, it was for wearing a thong too high. True story. Swear to God. That's if you want to hear that story, definitely tune into Thursday Night Football.
Mitch was way ahead of his time.
Way ahead of his time. My buddies and I, we used to dress up for Spirit Week for the football games or whatever. I didn't play high school football, and I bought this. Imagine going to Walmart and trying to find the biggest thong that you can. I wore it, essentially. I'll tell you this right now. There are people in this office that probably could use it as a parachute. It literally went up to here, like the straps. Unbelievable. True story. I used to have a picture of this outfit, but I don't have it anymore,
I see
unfortunately.
a lot of 2s.
I do see a lot of 2s.
I see a 4. G Money says in this order: 1, 4-2-3. So Jakobi, cornerback, Kolton, safety.
Who said that?
G Money.
Okay.
GF and Money.
Andrew says 3, 1, 2, 4. So free safety, Jakobi, Kolton, and then corner. It's kind of an interesting thought process.
Ed Robbins says free safety first.
Okay. Seth, hey, I love the question there. I think that would be a great one for the mailbag. Gary Backus says 2, 1, 3, 4. Okay, so he's going to go Kolton, Jakobi, safety, and then cornerback. I kind of like that, how you guys are doing this now. You're literally ranking all 4 of them. Because, I don't know about y'all. If it was up to me, I think that we should try to do all 4 of these things. Brian Lantz, 2, 1, 4, 3. Big luck. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'll tell you this. 1, 2, 3, 4 is not how I have them ranked.
Oh, yeah, King Javier, I like it.
King Hav?
He has a new profile pic, and it's WWE, AEW, and then the NFL logo.
Okay.
So wrestling.
I love it. King, I do like it as well. So I'll be real. I can't quite see it on my screen. Chugs can probably get a better look of it. Andrew, like Polo, but needs Simmons. I do think that we need Justin Simmons. All right, so let's talk about today's deals here on today's show. We got 200 people in the building, and these are the deals that we are going with today. Every $5 super chat, you're in for our fantasy football raffle, which we are announcing the winner of that on Monday, June 30th, so make sure you're tuned in for that. Every $10 Venmo that we get, you're entered in the duck race. Every hundo is a bang. But you know what? Last Thursday, we did something that I really had a lot of fun with, where people were going crazy, people were banging, and we had to start off Friday happy hour with a boot, which if you tune into Friday happy hour and we start that show off with a boot, you already know that thing's going to turn into a shit show. So here's my deal today. I'm going to give you guys a challenge, and if you watch Thursday Night Football, you'll kind of know how this challenge is going to end up folding, and we'll explain everything that needs to happen. Last week, we talked about doing bullpen beers, or actually it was 2 weeks ago. And if you don't know what a bullpen game is when you're talking about beers, it's essentially you got all these different beers in your fridge, and you're like, all right, I'll drink that one, all right, I'll take that one, and I'll take that one. I will start off tomorrow's show on the Raiders Report, Friday happy hour, with a bullpen boot, which means I'm going to let Jeremy walk in that fridge. He's going to crack open 3 different drinks of his choice. They're going to go in a boot, and that's how we're going to start off Friday happy hour. In order to get the bullpen boot started for Friday happy hour, you guys got to complete 6 steps. The first step, in order to do the bullpen boot tomorrow, we got to get 200 likes to reveal what step 2 is. Right now, I'm watching this video. We got 207 people in the building. Once we get to 200 likes, technically, if everybody watching right now were to click that like button, we would go right there to step number 2. I promise you this right now. It's going to be way easier than what we usually do on a Thursday Night Football stream. That I can guarantee. I also don't see any super chats that we've gotten yet. Totally okay. Just a reminder, if you want to get up on screen right here, you super chat, or you can use hashtag Raiders. And if we see any of the good questions, I do want to try to save some of these, for the mailbag. Like, I just saw Steven Stockgotten's question. I think that one was a good one. B.A. Marcus Frey, I thought that one was a good one. I also saw one earlier from Seth about the confidence level in Paul Mal. I like that one a lot as well. So here is going to be today's Tuna's top 5 question of the day. And we're going to do this a little bit differently throughout the entire live show. We're going to reveal the top 5 that we have. My question to you is this. What is the best sports city right now, professional sports only? And since Jeremy was the one that really kind of came up with this idea, how would you describe the criteria for this?
Nothing to do with the fans. Nothing to do with the fans. I solely made my list based on how good the professional sports teams in that city are right now.
Okay.
And how good they project to be in the next year. So, the NBA is not in right now, but let's say, I don't know, Minnesota. Will the Timberwolves be one of the best teams next year? I take that into consideration, and then how good teams are doing right now. Also, NFL teams, like how good are the Vikings going to be next year? So I chose my top 5 cities in terms of all the sports they have and how good I think they're going to be this year going into next year.
Okay, so right now I am seeing a lot of LAs down below. I'm not going to tell you whether or not LA made the list. I will say this. You might be surprised with some of the rankings, and I'm going to let Jeremy explain why each city is where they are, and I'll kind of like chime in from time to time as well. I am, though, seeing a lot of LAs from M1, from Raider Nation 80. Big Luck says LA, Chicago, and Boston. Big Luck, I'll make you a deal. One out of the teams that you just mentioned, I believe, made the list. One out of that. Now, he's changed it a few times.
I have changed it because it's hard to think because you got to think of how good are these teams right now? How good are the teams doing right now in the MLB? How good does the NFL team look?
Yep.
And I only did it based on the 4 major sports.
Correct.
Hockey, baseball, basketball, football. I only looked at those 4 sports, and not every city has all 4, right?
Like if anybody's looking for Las Vegas, because Jeremy and I kind of not really got into it, but he was like, oh, Vegas Knights are the best team in Vegas. And I was like, well, technically the Aces, which is one of the reasons why we were like, all right, we need better criteria of just the 4 sports.
Any city that doesn't have at least 3, you have to have 3 of the major 4 to contend. That's why Las Vegas doesn't end up getting it now. But, I mean, I could have almost thought of the A's as being a pseudo part of Las Vegas since they're going to be moving there. But
true. Honestly, we didn't even really talk about that.
But I don't know if that helps or hurts the cause as of right now.
Yeah, I'll be real. I haven't really been paying much attention to baseball. But that's just because the Mets have lost like 9 out of their last 10 games.
I'm just going to reveal number 5 and number 4 on my list, and I'm going to tell you why. Number 5, Miami. Okay. Miami. I have them at number 5 because I do think the East is in the NBA. The Eastern Conference is weak. I think the Heat are going to be a team that I think could easily make the playoffs once again this year in an Eastern Conference where the Bucks have Damian Lillard, who's not going to be playing.
Yeah, he ain't playing.
You have the Celtics without Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
The Sixers I don't know if Joel Embiid is going to decide to play this year. So with all those things considered, I think of the Heat as a team that's going to be at least vying for a playoff run in the East in theirs. And the thing that's pushing them forward a ton, and we had a debate on this in the office, and this is what ultimately landed them in the top 5, is because we decided the Florida Panthers belong to Miami, and they've won the last 2 Stanley Cups.
So when we looked at which team was the closest for the Florida Panthers, technically they play the closest to Miami. I didn't love the Miami pick at first because, again, I don't think the Miami Marlins are any good.
The Dolphins.
The Dolphins are very But, I mean, tell me another sports team that won back-to-back titles. For the criteria of what we were doing today, my question is, though, for you, why for yes and for no, is Miami a top 5 sports city as it stands right now? I think if you don't consider the Florida Panthers a Miami team, it's an easy no.
Yeah.
But when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of debating these teams, to me, I start splitting hairs with championships. They are the only team in the NBA, NHL, MLB, I don't know if I said NBA, NFL, that have at least a back-to-back champion as we stand right now.
Yeah. So I think because of that, it propelled Miami to be the number 5. I will say, and actually, no, I won't say right now because I don't want to give up the rest of my list. I was going to say who else was in the running for 5, but then that might kind of ruin the rest of the list, in my opinion.
Rebel says no. King Shav's going to go with a no. Ed, no. BA says no. Serpio does have Miami in his top 5. Darren's going to agree with you, which I like. James Posada has San Francisco as his number 1. Maybe.
Rebel, and I don't know if you heard the criteria or not. The humidity has nothing. It's nothing about the fan base, nothing about the actual city.
Correct.
Just the sports.
Just the team.
Because Rebel says, no, I don't like humidity.
Yep.
Which doesn't really make any sense for the conversation.
Harry, I'm saying right now, so this has nothing to do with the history of these sports cities. This is solely based on what those teams are right now, because you said Steelers and Penguins have won back-to-back twice. The Steelers didn't win the Super Bowl last season.
Yeah.
The Penguins didn't win last season.
Yeah.
So again, we're talking about this past year and going into this season. That's what this criteria is. So just think about that and keep that in mind. We do have 214 people in the building again.
Do I give them 4?
Yep. In order for us to get to step number 2, we got to get to 200 likes. Let's reveal Chugs' number 4 for sports cities.
And this one was tough because I had them a little higher, had them a little lower. I settled on 4 for the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. They have the Super Bowl champion in the Philadelphia Eagles. The Phillies are currently tied with the Astros for the 3rd best record in the MLB. The only thing is
Sixers stink.
Sixers stink. Flyers, to my knowledge, stink.
I don't know.
Right now. The Flyers are not.
The Flyers, I don't really know. I'll be real.
From what I know, the Flyers are not a really good team in the NHL. So with that being said, the Eagles obviously propel this team into the top 5, just like Miami has the Florida Panthers, who just won a championship, kind of putting them in.
Okay.
And I think I have them a little bit ahead because they have 2 really good teams. They have the Phillies, they have the Eagles. So I would say because of those 2 teams and their success and the fact that the Phillies are a team that I think could vie for, being a part of the World Series this year.
I mean, they lead the NL East right now. I mean, the Mets have been winning that division all year long, but they've just been losing so many games. And, I mean, the Phillies are, I would say, a top 6 contender to win the World Series.
Yeah.
I don't follow baseball all that closely, despite what I'm wearing today, but, yeah, I would say the Phillies got to be up there.
Yeah, so that makes it where I slotted Philadelphia in at 4. I had them at 3, but then I moved some things around because the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I think there's better overall well-rounded cities in terms of sports towns with multiple good teams in that town right now.
Yeah, I originally, I don't remember where he had Philadelphia, but I remember I thought he had Philly too low.
I think I had them at 5 originally.
5 originally. There was another city that I'm not going to mention yet that you had in your top 5 that is no longer in your top 5, which I think was the right decision, and I was happy that Philadelphia did ended up getting bumped up there.
Let me know. Do you think Philadelphia deserves to be in the top 5? Give me a Y for yes, N for no. Do you think it should be switched? Do you think Miami should be ahead of Philadelphia? How do you view this list so far? Does Philly deserve a top 5 spot as best sports towns in all of America right now? All yeses so far.
I'll also say this, and this, again, goes out to everyone who's tuned in and watching right now. We are going to reveal 3 and 2 after the first segment here on today's show, and I figured one of the things that I was trying to do, and I know a lot of people have been watching this show, I've been saying I want to try to get more tuna top 5s into the shows that we do. And I thought a cool way that we could do it is maybe doing it more like from a live standpoint where we kind of like reveal a tuna's top 5 throughout the entirety of the live show instead of just putting it on like one segment that we do. That way just, more people that watch the live can kind of interact. And I don't know the way that Brandon would have wanted to be done, but at the end of the day, I think that the fact that we're remembering him to the best possible way we can, I think is the most important thing that we can do here. So reminder, we are 200 likes. That is the number that we got to get to in order to reveal what step 2 is here on the Raiders Report. And then at the very end of today's show, we are going to do a duck race. So friendly reminder, if you are trying to get in, which I do see a few people are currently in right now that are getting in this duck race. I got Fabian Moreno, which Gilbert, I don't know what you just sent me. I can check that out here in a little bit. Fabian Moreno, anytime he's here, you got to watch out for him. Dude's an absolute legend. Moreno, you're in twice. I see Philip Boger, you, sir, are in. Patrick Roche is in. And then L.A. Crash Dog is also in. And there we go. Victor Lobos, you in. To the person by the name of Mark, I see what you did. Give me a few minutes here, and I'll be able to get you hooked up. Here. So here's what I want to do. I want to get into the very first segment here on today's show. But actually, first, I think we get to that super chat. And then we'll just kind of, oh, I thought it was going to be a question, but this one's from the old papaya man. Mitch, much love and congrats on your marriage. Next up, little Mitch Jr., give it 4 just win, babies. Chugs, what's up, my man? Yeah, I'm not going to have kiddos for a little while. Again, Alex is a little bit younger than me, and I just want her to, like for me in my mind, I'm 32 years old, and I wasn't ready to have kids when I was her age. So when she's ready, we'll end up having them. I would say, honestly, we're probably like 5 to 6 years away from having kids. But then again, I mean, you never know exactly what's going to happen. I would say literally the debate Alex and I had yesterday was around when exactly we were going to get another dog, and I would like to be able to get another dog. Our lease ends October of 2026. So probably right around then is when I want to get another dog.
Would you want to, because you're saying your lease ends, would you want to get a spot that has a backyard?
Absolutely.
Is that what's holding you back?
Yeah, and it'll be the first time that I still won't drive to work. I'm just going to have to get a car that self-drives. I'm gonna get a car that self-drives. I'm not going to drive. But then we'll figure it out.
They don't have those right now, though.
Where? Self-driving cars?
In Dallas?
You're telling me they don't have self-driving cars?
No.
They have Tesla self-drive. What are you talking about? You just sit and it drives you. No?
I don't think it works like that.
What do you mean? There are cars. James has one, our boss.
But, like, you just put in the address and it just takes you. You don't have to do anything.
Correct. I can't tell if you're serious.
You don't have to do a single thing?
I mean, you have to sit there and, every 30 seconds, you have to, basically prove that you're not dead or asleep in the car. But, yeah, I mean, you have to pay for, a membership that allows you to have that self-drive. I don't know. Am I crazy or am I crazy? Somebody said, please stop.
That was your dad.
Is that really not how it works or what?
I don't think that's how it's supposed to work.
How does it work?
I think it's almost like a cruise control setting where if you're on the highway going it fully does every turn for you and everything like that. If you're going through the city.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was more of a cruise control situation where,
I mean, when I was in the car with James, I mean, he literally hands up and we were making turns. He was just driving throughout Dallas. Am I crazy? Mitch, if you get a Tesla, you're going to lose your man card. I guess I'll lose my man. I'll tell you this, guys. I just don't like driving. Haven't been a fan of it. Yeah, they have auto drive. You have to control it sometimes. I know you have to sometimes, but
it's when do you know when you have to?
I guess I'll find out. I just know this. I'm not going to be the one 100% responsible to drive.
Just my question is, if you're in a self-driving car, it gets in an accident, is it your fault?
I don't know.
Is your hands weren't on the wheel?
I don't know.
Do they sue? I don't know.
Go hop in James's car. James, and literally he's driving.
So he could just be full on texting, not looking at the road while it's driving him.
Legally probably not. I don't know. I'll have to do I guess some more research. Slurricane, damn it, Mitch. Use Uber. It will be cheaper. I've heard that as well, but then I got to Uber every day. I don't know if I want to Uber every single day. Also, we just got this message from Mark Call Bang! Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. I'll already tell you this. Mark has already got you guys set up for this Raiders Report challenge. I'm telling you this right now. He's already got you set up. If we get to 200 likes, I do really think that this is going to be an easy challenge to complete. I mean, I've been in a car that goes down multiple streets and you don't have to do anything.
Dude, I don't not believe you. I just, in my mind, I would hate that. Because in my mind, I would be like,
I would love it.
What if it hits somebody?
Sure. That's the risk, though, with any time you hop in a car.
I know, but it's like not on you. Like, it would be, I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, what if somebody like jaywalking, crossing the street in a spot where they're not supposed to, which happens a lot in downtown Dallas, people jaywalking, like not.
The car will see it. It pops
in
up
time?
On the.
For like, if you're going 30 miles per hour, somebody's not paying attention jaywalking, what would it do?
I would guess. Dude, I've seen video. I saw a video of a guy in his truck playing a video game while going to work. Like, I don't know. I think technology is about to go a whole nother level, which obviously it's already has gone pretty crazy. I am under the impression what I'm saying right now isn't all that crazy. But now I don't know. Maybe what I'm saying is crazy. I thought there was already cars that you could just sit in and it's taken.
Like you could sit in the back seat.
No, that is not allowed. You have to be sitting in the driver's seat. Like for James's car, I remember it was like every 30 seconds, basically, you had to prove like that you were still there. I don't know. Yep. Patrick Roche, love the question, and we're going to add that one as well to the mailbag here on today's show. I got a few other people that are getting in for the duck race. I think I already got Victor Lobos. I somehow missed Soulja Man. Soulja Man, that's on me, dude. $10 Venmo right now. You're in for a chance to win $35. Adam said you have to be touching the steering wheel.
I asked James to come in and clarify.
All right. I've been in James's car, dude. You have to buy a software. I think Chase's car is the same thing.
He can just boop, then just takes him.
Yep. Wherever you want to go.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, here he comes. Watch. He's so excited. Look at this. This is a lot of pep in that step. James.
So you can just put in an address and it just takes you wherever. You don't have to pay attention. You can just chill.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it 20 times in the last 2 months. I just haven't touched the entire time. Set the press. All you gotta do is
I've been trying to explain it to him, and he's like, I don't think that this exists.
Why don't we go for a ride right now? Let's go. Wait till you produce. We'll go for a ride right now. Touch the address. I touch it. Dude, I went one time, about 6 weeks ago. I was in a construction zone. I went 65, like a tight semi next to me. I'm like, ah! Yeah.
It does turns everything.
Don't touch the wheel. Don't touch the thing. Sit there like this. As long as your eyes don't go off the road for 20 seconds, it'll start beeping if you are looking at your phone or whatever. But it's still.
Okay.
You can't sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
The way Mitch was describing it, he's like, yeah, I just get in the passenger seat, I fall asleep, and I wake up and I'm at Chat Sports.
I did not say any of that. I said if I get a car, I'm going to get a self-driving car. That way I don't have to drive to work.
What about jaywalkers?
It sees everything, dude.
Dude,
I was trying to tell you.
That's wild. And so, but he was saying you have to get a monthly subscription to this? Okay.
$100 a month for me not to drive.
If it was
easy.
just press it and go to sleep. They launched driverless taxis, the same exact car I have in Austin this past weekend. I would pay $300 a month.
Like you could just sleep, you wake up and you're in the garage.
Bingo.
Only he doesn't do it. Back in my driveway, my driveway.
The big difference is I feel like James does it for ease, and you're doing it out of I just don't want to drive.
Correct.
I won't do it coming to work or anything like that because I want to whip around. I want to go fast.
I was gonna say I know James is a little speed racer, so
yeah. James takes a lot of pride. If he's got to be there in 5 minutes, he's gonna try to get there.
If you're going to the airport, no way you're self-driving.
Just get my son in the car or go to basketball practice, go to the grocery store. Not
Yeah, I'm telling you this right now. I'm getting one. I don't know how. I don't know when. But if I do ever get a car, that's what I'm getting. I do not want to have to drive.
Let's just do a Raiders report road trip.
Raiders.
Honestly, that might be a good short for main Chat Sports. It's how good does self-driving work?
$100 per month is cheaper than gas, Yoda. I'm with you. I'll tell you this. I'm in. Chase just got one.
I did not know Tesla's game like that. I thought it was like more like cruise control, where like if you were on an open road, like
That's what most car companies are. When they say they have like driver assistance, that like I'm not even joking, Jeremy. It will if it like this is what happened to me one time. The craziest thing that happened to me one time a couple weeks ago was it missed a turn because it couldn't get over. There was so much traffic. It was trying to like center lane to like right lane to make a right turn. And I was like, let's just see what happens. It went up about 100 feet and did a U-turn in the middle of a street. Like it was live oak. Right?
I love it.
U-turn and it's a left turn back. Yeah. I didn't touch the wheel. It was crazy. Yeah.
I'm in, dude.
you know what's even more impressive?
Mitch's hair for his wedding.
Nope.
Almost. It's the
Night Devil! Bang!
A second bang of the day.
Start yourself a month of self-driving.
There we go. 1 month self-driving. Thank you so much, Night Devil. What up, Nation? Mitch, when you come, giggity, would you be down for a low rider show style party with the Tucson Raider Nation? So I was actually talking to Jeremy about this today. You got to be MVP this month, and then we'll lock it in. But I promise you this, dude. If you want to do something, it can be. I was kind of thinking it would end up being because the Raiders play the Cardinals on August 23rd. It's the final Raiders preseason game. And just like for my schedule, I don't want to shortchange you, and I'm just being very honest. And because the 4th of July is coming up, and then my honeymoon is July 13th to the 18th, but technically, like, I'm off a few days before that, and I'm off a few days after it, and then training camp starts. So for me personally, I was thinking like the best opportunity for me to come out there would be right when the Raiders and Cardinals ended up playing. So it would be like maybe on that Friday, right before the Raiders, August 22nd or something like that. If you wanted to host it at your venue or if you wanted to host it at some other spot, I'm totally down. But like if I make that trip out there, first off, I would say I want to be able to like, just have a meal with you where it's just you, me, and Chugs if he's able to make it out there. Maybe our new Raiders Report producer will be out there with us as well.
Maybe.
TBD. We'll be able to come out there. I was thinking, just have like a nice little dinner, little lunch, something like that.
Either that or you might be on distro duty.
True. True. Yeah, you might, or you can just record the whole thing. And then if you wanted to do something where there was a Raiders party, I'm totally down for that. If you give me the details, I'll put it out there. I'll tell people where I'm going to be, and we'll do our best to pack the joint. But I've never been to Arizona, so I would love to be able to see Tucson. And I also know there's a few diehard Raiders fans that watch this show that are also really close to that area, and I would love to be able to figure out something. But Night Devil, I mean, after that bang right there, that takes the Night Devil all the way up to 29 bangs for the month of June, extending his lead over Venthrak. 6
Tell me
bangs.
when to stop. Patrick Roche, I think this is a good one for the mailbag, so just semi-answer this one if you could.
Semi-answer? What if it's not a priority because it doesn't need to be? If you were the Raiders and you were confident that Jakobi and Kolton Miller, who showed up to non-mandatory things, are going to play, then maybe you don't need to do it. That's my short answer as it stands right now.
Richie said he'll be there.
Who's going to be there?
Richie.
Where? Arizona?
That's what he just said. He said, I'll be there.
Are you driving? Are you invited? Because I didn't invite you. I'm just kidding. Not that. Hey, if you want to pick me up in Dallas, we'll drive out there.
I'll meet y'all.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this right now. 0% chance I'm driving. No chance. I'm driving out there. My dad would though. He would. I'll give him credit. He would drive from Pennsylvania to Arizona, and he would probably try to make it in a day.
Dude, I gotta get. Obviously, go to Night Devil's spot. I want to try maybe a Sonoran dog there.
Who?
A Sonoran hot dog. It's a famous hot dog.
I don't like hot dogs, so I don't know.
Bacon wrapped. Crema.
Oh, you've talked about
jalapenos.
this.
Bomb.
No, you've 100% talked about that before.
Also,
Chugs knows Italian brain rot, but not Tesla's.
Tung 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 sahur. Chimpanzini banini.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Crocodilo bombardio.
Miggy Camacho. You in. Amy in. Richard Renz. You in. $10 Venmo right now for a shot to win $55 here on the Raiders Report. And again, we are getting closer and closer. We got to get to 200 likes, and then I'm going to reveal what step 2 is. And if you want me to start tomorrow's show off with, I'm going to call it a bullpen boot, 3 different beers in the boot. We got to get to 200 likes. We got 234 people watching, and I'm going to pull a book. I'm going to pull something out of the Jeremy Chuggs book. I'm not doing the first segment until we get to 200 likes.
Damn.
So let's get some questions flowing in here using hashtag Raiders, and we're going to give some shout-outs on the show.
Scheffler, Papa Renz, what's your favorite name brand hot dog? This might be stereotypical of me. We usually go with Hebrew National. I'm not even kidding.
I'll tell you this. You shouldn't apologize for that. It's so on brand. I respect it. I mean, it's on brand. I don't eat hot dogs, so I have no idea. Though I would have thought you'd be an Oscar Mayer guy. I don't know.
Honestly, if I'm going to backup dog, Ballpark. Ballpark has some good dogs.
Ballpark, fair enough. I will say this. I am a big baseball guy, and I'm big. Like, if I go to a baseball game, I got to have a beer, right? Like, I want to have a beer like when I'm watching the game. If there's ever been a time where I wish I would like hot dogs, because, again, I'm really cheap.
Dollar dog night
At a baseball game. It kills me. I mean, Alex and I, we went to a game probably last year, and I got a $10 burger, and she got 4 hot dogs for $4. Not all for her.
Oh, I was like,
yeah, not all for her.
Damn, Alex! I was like,
No.
I've seen her eat, but like, I could not in my mind just then picture Alex downing 4 dogs, especially getting them all at once.
No, we got them for like her friends and one of her friends' boyfriends. Yeah. But it was painful for me to be like, wow, that was $4, all that, and then I'm getting this burger for 10. I'll tell you this though.
Did you get the Whataburger?
The last time I went, yes, but this time, no. I would spend $15 on that Whataburger that I got compared to the $10 burger that I got last time. It was literally just bun, meat, and cheese.
Yeah.
Which, that kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. Costco hot dogs, my go-to. I'm just not a hot dog guy. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a hot dog guy.
Yeah, I've had a Chicago hot dog from we have a Portillo's down here. Really good dog.
See, I don't know what it is. It's just they gross me out. My dad's a huge fan. When he used to come to all my baseball games, he used to always stop at this one spot. Dad, you probably know which one I'm talking about. It's really close to where Mike lives, where my college was. You used to go there all the time. I don't know. He used to always be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to stop here and get a glizzy.
King says Sheetz hot dogs are great.
No chance. Sheetz is the type of food that you eat when you're banged up.
And Venom said Florida Panthers Stanley Cup champions. He said Johnny's hot dogs.
Papa Renz, don't let Mitch get a Tesla. Here's the thing, and I love my dad very much. He has no control over which car I'm getting. The only way that's ever going to happen...
My son's only driving a Mustang.
The only way that's ever going to happen is if Richie, whenever that day is that he retires, moves down here and he's like, listen, I'm going to need to crash on your couch for a few weeks. I don't have any money, but I'll drive you around wherever. Then you can pick the car.
And I saw Venom Sosa just enter the chat. He said, Panthers, NHL, Stanley Cup champions. And after this next segment, I'm going to reveal my 3 and 2 top sports cities. And Venom, I had Miami at 5.
Yoda.
Basically solely because of the Florida Panthers. Yep. They are carrying Miami in my rankings right now of top 5 sports cities solely based on how good the teams are now and how good they'll look this next season.
Rob Fravor, I got you in. Charles G, I got you in. I miscalculated earlier. That's on me. Right now it's a 10 to win $60.
Venom said Miami's first.
Here on today's show.
But Miami just cracked the top 5, Venom. I'm sorry. The Dolphins suck. The Marlins suck.
188 likes. We are 12 likes away. Darren says, I will take a Hellcat. Speaking of Hellcat, I miss Hellcat. Hellcat Q, hope you've been good, my man. Venom Sosa, what's up?
We're so close.
I know, we're almost.
We need 12 more likes.
Holy cow. I mean, if we get any closer, I'm going to blow the roof off this joint. Blade Craig, you in? I got you in, Mr. Craig. I see Dungeon Fitness in. And then Richard Black, you, sir, are also in. 10 to win 75. As it stands right now, 5 likes away from getting to 200. And we can get into the very first segment on today's show. But again, as soon as we get to 200, I'm going to reveal what step 2 is. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We've already gotten there.
2 likes away. Who's going to be like 200?
I mean, if you're just sitting there, we're 1 like away. If you've never liked a video on this channel before, I hope that you do it today. Hit that like, mother effers. From Darren, I'm with you. Zalesbo, get those likes up. James Posada, I see you, I hear you, and I appreciate it. And we did just get to 200 likes. Absolutely legendary stuff there. So, what is going to be behind door number 2, which luckily Mark Call, he was the first one to bang on today's show, so we already did that. You guys can thank Mark, and you can thank the Night Devil. Next thing that I need y'all to do.
And you know what? I'm going to make this 6 more.
Yep. We need 6 more people to join the duck race to reveal what step 4 is going to be. So I'm going to give you guys some time. I'm going to give you some opportunities to get in. And since, I'm a man that likes a good deal, the first 3 people that get in, I'm going to give you a free duck.
Hell yeah. We'll check that after our first segment. Mitch is going to break down some of the latest NFL news and how that might impact the Las Vegas Raiders.
The way that you did that, I know it was Berman, but I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about the Madden movie. I don't know if it's 100% been confirmed. I don't know how many people know this, but I was told that Max Crosby is actually going to be in that Madden movie.
Really?
Yeah, I was told that Max is going to be doing something very limited where he's going to be making an appearance, which, how cool is that for Crosby, like getting to be in the Madden movie with Christian Bale and what's his name? The guy that plays in...
Nick Cage.
Nicolas Cage. But I was told by a source that he is going to be in that movie. I don't know how long he's going to be in it for. It literally could just be like him popping his head in, and that's about it.
Could you imagine if
I was told that he's going to be in that movie.
Can you imagine if it's like a small part, like Al Davis gets a flat tire, he calls AAA, and it's like Max Crosby, and he's like fixing the tire?
Well, because my only question was, the person that told me that, I started then reaching out to just my normal people that I do.
He plays Howie Long?
Well, I was like, if Madden and Al, think about it, right? If Madden and Al in the movie, obviously they're alive, Max isn't a Raider. So I was like, is he going to be like a bystander? Is he just going to be some random dude? Because here's the other thing. Random people don't look like Max Crosby. Like, Max is a much bigger human being in person, and obviously he's tatted up from head to toe. But,
maybe he plays Rich Gannon.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Max Crosby that we see in Madden has a better shot being Rich Gannon. But,
yeah.
No, man, good for Max. It'll be fun to see him in the movie. I did ask him. I was like, a little birdie told me you're going to be in the movie. He left me on scene, which maybe that's like the confirmation that I needed, because I feel like usually Max answers me right away, but left me on scene on that one. So, Max, you're going to be on the movie. We'll see. All right, coming up here on the show, let's get into the NFL news that could impact the Las Vegas Raiders. Coming up right now. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, some NFL news that might cause the Raiders to make a roster move. In the middle of June, I'm always somebody that's out there looking for the latest on the silver and black, but a lot of times, there's not a lot of stuff happening in June. So when other things happen around the NFL, I'm a big believer that the National Football League, I like to call them a dominoes league. When one domino falls, sometimes multiple dominoes start to fall, and a certain domino fell in the last 24 hours. I don't want to talk about it because I think it could force the Raiders to make a roster move. If you don't know, we are 49 subs away from 195,000 subscribers. For news updates and the latest going on around this football team right here, I promise you this, you're never going to miss anything going on. If it's a big story, we're covering it. If it's a little story like the Raiders cutting a player, I'm going to cover it. If I don't cover it, it probably hasn't happened. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on. So let's talk about the news that happened, because actually, there was something that happened yesterday and also something that happened today, which I'll talk about at the end of today's show. But Shaquille Griffin, he ended up signing with the Seattle Seahawks yesterday. And as soon as I saw that happen, the first thing that I popped into my head was, I wonder what the Raiders are going to do. Because if you did not know, a few weeks ago, Shaquille Griffin ended up having a 2-day visit with the Raiders. I believe they brought him in on a Wednesday, and I don't know exactly why the meeting ended up going until the next day as well. So basically a 2-day meeting. Since I have covered the NFL and since I have covered the Raiders, if you bring a player in for a 2-day meeting, that means that either A, you were very interested in that player, or B, in my mind, you were very interested in that position that player played. So to me, I'm wondering if the Raiders now are going to be potentially looking to add a corner, because if they had somebody circled on their radar, like, all right, we're going to be able to get Shaquille Griffin if we are not 100% confident, let's say, in a Darian Porter, a Jacorian Bennett, and an Eric Stokes, they might have thought that, hey, this could have been our get-out-of-jail-for-free card in Griffin. Well, now he's off the board. And now that you know that he's off the board, does Spytek and Pico, well, now we got to go out and try to get a corner because maybe we're not 100% confident in our guys. And I am somebody, again, that believes dominoes tend to fall after certain signings. And in a dead period that we are in right now here in the NFL, as soon as I saw the news around Griffin, the first thing I thought of is, what are the Raiders going to do? And a lot of the shows that I do here are this. I'm not somebody that tries to be a beat reporter. I am a normal Raiders fan that if I think something is cool or if I think about it, I'm going to tell the nation because I think the way that Raiders fans think. So here is something that I thought that the Griffin move could force the Raiders to do. The first thing that I thought of is, all right, if Griffin is out the door, and because he had that connection to Pete Carroll, and because he played at a high level at one time, coming off a good season with the Minnesota Vikings, could this make the Raiders go out and sign a legit corner? And to me, when I think of legit corners on the open market, there's only a few names I'm going to throw out there. The first name that I'll mention is Rasul Douglas. Pete Carroll, I've already said I think is the perfect coach for Douglas, just based on Pete's track record with past lanky corners, and kind of, for Douglas, who I think wants to bounce back after having a little bit of a down year. You can see there with that 59.2 overall PFF grade, but the size, the physicality, it kind of matches. 6'2", 210 pounds, long, lanky. That's the type of corner that Pete typically looks for, and because this team does really value relationships, Douglas doesn't really have a relationship with anybody on this squad in terms of coaching, but he does have a relationship with Eric Stokes, and Douglas was a Pro Bowler when him and Stokes were teammates back with the Green Bay Packers in 2021. So I get it. He's 30 years old, coming off a little bit of a down year, but that could be a corner that you would at least potentially keep in mind. Another corner that I'm going to bring up here is Stephon Gilmore. So over the past 3 seasons, 48 games played, 48 games started, and maybe they're looking for somebody that is, a little bit of a veteran, kind of like what Griffin was, and when you have such a young cornerback room, I also think that the Raiders, kind of what they did at linebacker, they brought in a Devin White, they brought in a Jermaine Pratt, they brought in a Landon Roberts to try to stack with the Amari Burney, Tommy Eichenberg, Amari Gaynor, Cody Lindenberg. And when I look at the Raiders cornerback room, it's also a very young group, so could they bring in somebody that, yes, I get it, it's 34 years old, but Gilmore to me does have some of that versatility, and I'm not going to lie, and I know I've said this before as well, I wonder if Gilmore could potentially play safety. Patrick Peterson, converted corner to go to safety. Charles Woodson, corner, converted to safety. When you're a difference maker and you are an elite player in your prime like Gilmore was, NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 2016, if you're still playing at a high level and you want to make that move, I think that's a move to make. Also, Gilmore, play with the Minnesota Vikings. I think good coaches watch film. If you were watching film on Shaquille Griffin, you can't tell me you weren't watching film on Stephon Gilmore. Let's go to another corner here that has been mentioned recently. I actually had a source in the last 48 hours tell me, watch out for Mike Hilton And I'm always somebody that, again, when you talk about dominoes where there's smoke, there's fire. I saw a week ago a report from Vincent Bonsignor that said, hey, just like watch out for a name like Mike Hilton because he plays this nickel back role. And if we're talking about the difference between Hilton compared to Gilmore and Douglas, Hilton is that nickel. And I get it. When you look at the Raiders cornerback room right now, nickel is the one spot in that secondary, not free safety, that does concern me a lot. And I do think with the relationship that Hilton has with somebody like Jermaine Pratt, if you were the Raiders and you were saying, hey, I don't really want to go out and I want to spend big and I want Shaquille Griffin, now that this free agency pool of corners is a little bit thinner, I think you have to make a decision if you're an NFL team, because if you do want a corner and you wait until all the corners are gone, you're probably going to end up paying more at the end of it. Where if you're able to swoop in right now, get the guy that you want, where there's still some other names out there, I think you might save yourself a few $1 million down the end of the road. And every $1 million, every dollar, when you are a team that's trying to rebuild and you're trying to build it for the long haul, I don't give a shit what anybody says. Every dollar matters for the Las Vegas Raiders this upcoming season. So I want you to finish this sentence for me. The next player the Raiders will sign is... fill in the blank, finish the sentence. This is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show. While you're getting hit with a YouTube ad break, please finish this off. Let me know down below. I know I was going to say finish me off, but that would not have been good. Compete cornerbacks. Some of you might go, what the hell is a compete cornerback? Let me walk you through it. To me, the Raiders this offseason have signed players that are bottom of the roster guys, but all they want is somebody that goes out there and competes. And I think a great example of this is somebody like a Michael Barrett. Linebacker, Michigan ties, has a track record of just being a really hard-nosed player. Now, the names that I'm about to bring up are not names that you're going to put out there in the starting lineup. These are names that simply that you know are going to go out there, they're going to practice, they're going to go out there and compete, and they also have a coaching connection with the silver and black. The first name I'm going to bring up, James Bradberry. Did not play in 2024 with an Achilles injury, but he does have ties to Patrick Graham in 2020 and in 2021. I bring this up because also the Raiders, reminder, they signed Jalen Smith right after the draft, during literally rookie minicamp. And because of the coaching connection with Bradberry, he's a veteran. I don't know how hard he's going to be out there working, but I do think he would be a good asset to have in training camp, and maybe that's why you bring him in. Another name that I'll throw out there is somebody that is known for competing, Trey Flowers, who played 4 years with Pete Carroll from 2018 to 2021. Only 4 tackles last season, but long, lanky, had some good years back there in Seattle with Pete. And if you feel like that your cornerback room needs just a little push, I think Trey Flowers could be somebody that helps you do that. Next name I'm going to be bringing up here is Chris Lamons, who, again, a little bit of an undersized guy. This guy's got the connection to Patrick Graham. 1 year with him with the Miami Dolphins in 2019 and has had some opportunities to get some playing time and more of a special teams roster dude. But he's going to be a name I'll throw out there. And then the final compete corner, I'll say, is Andre Shashir, who 6 foot, basically 200 pounds, more of just a special teams guy. I actually think he's probably a little bit better off as a, we'll call it safety cornerback hybrid overall. Not the best in coverage, I'm going to be honest with you. But this guy kind of reminds me of somebody like a good safe. Like, I don't want to say Chris Smith because I think Chris Smith is a hard-working dude, but at the exact same time, Chris Smith would make your back end a little bit better simply because he's going to go out there and he's going to give you 110%. And for a player that was undrafted and for a guy that really made his stamp, and where he made his stamp was he was on practice squads, he was cut, he was undrafted. In 2019, he ended up making the Arizona Cardinals roster, and then the following year he had a good year, and then the following season he ended up signing with another football team. But where he really got his first start was with Marcus Robinson, the Raiders cornerback coach, DB coach, and I wonder, could that be somebody that they bring in because he's also known for being a hardworking player. The next move that I wonder that the Raiders could do, because they have 91 players on their roster, is do you cut a player to make room? And typically what teams do is they'll sign a guy first and then they end up cutting somebody. It's what they did with Jermaine Pratt. It's just typically what teams do. But there are opportunities and there are instances where teams sometimes cut a player And then we're sitting there going, well, now we can add a guy. And if the Raiders end up cutting a player, here are the top 8 names that I'll throw out there. You have a lot of wide receivers up here, and that's just because I think the Raiders are a little bit more confident in their wide receiver room. You got some offensive linemen, running back Chris Collier. Overall, these are not players that are going to make the 53-man. Knowing that they're not going to make the 53-man, do you move on from a dude? That way you free up a little bit of space. And that space you're freeing up is that roster spot for the Raiders to go out and potentially get somebody. Coming up next, though, I got more NFL news that could impact the Raiders. I am somebody that is nervous about what exactly is happening with Christian Wilkins. And I do wonder, could the Raiders potentially look to add somebody on that defensive line? Because, again, you're not going to be able to replace Wilkins. But could you add a player that helps the overall defensive line? Maybe somebody that's going to be a good competitor, and that's going to make your overall D-line better to help replace Christian Wilkins. Before I get into that, though, I love America, and I love the Las Vegas Raiders. And if you're trying to get a Raiders and USA shirt, go to chatsports.com/RaidersUSA. What'd you say? Yep, please don't do that. If you're looking for a Raiders shirt, though, I mean, like, I'm somebody where I never know what to wear on the 4th of July. And my dad told me that I'm not allowed to wear my usual 4th of July shirt, which I can wear it on I'll tell you this. I'll try to wear it on, July 3rd? I'll try to wear my, Dad, you know what shirt I'm talking about. I'll try to wear that one. Bottom line, I never know what to wear on 4th of July. I go to the pool, I eat a bunch of food, we have some drinks, and I want to be able to rock the Raiders, and I want to be able to rock America. If you're the same way, chatsports.com/Raiders. USA. So some of the NFL news that happened today, and it came in bright and early this morning. Ogbo Okoronkwo, hopefully I pronounced that right. Okoronkwo signed a 3-year, $19 million deal with the Browns. This was back in, I want to say, 2023. He was released today. And any time that a player gets added to the free agency pool, I just want to be able to talk about him a little bit. He actually had a good year with the Texans in 2022, but over the past 2 seasons in Cleveland, didn't quite put up the numbers that I think the Browns were hoping for when they signed him. But then again, 3 sacks, 4.5 sacks, all I would need him to do is be able to pin his ears back, get north and south, and allow him to be an athlete. Yeah, he's getting up there in age a little bit, but I think one of the best things that Patrick Graham has always been able to do, and one of these things that, Rob Leonard has always been able to do, is get the most out of their players. And if I got $1 for every time I have said Levon Chasen replacement, I'd probably have a good $200, $300 in my pocket. And that's kind of how I look at this move. And anytime that there's somebody that I do think could be on a 53-man roster, guess what? I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about it on this show. So I do wonder if the Raiders could potentially be looking at him. Just another name to keep in mind. Before I wrap up today's show, if you do not know, June, it's almost over, and I feel like June literally went by in the blink of an eye. And if you're trying to get into our Raiders Report Fantasy Football League, this might be one of your last opportunities to do it. We're going to do a 12-team league, potentially 14-team league. Whoever the MVP is, whoever bangs the most, right now it's Fabian Moreno, you're automatically in. And every $5 super chat we get, that's a raffle ticket. Every $5 super thanks we get is a raffle ticket. We're going to announce that winner on June 30th, and I would really, really like the winner to be there watching the live show when it all goes down. All right, so let's continue here on today's live show. What's up?
Yeah,
yeah.
$5 super chat.
$5 super thanks. Super chat.
Super thanks. Super chat.
Hey, think about it. So today's Tuna's Top 5 question of the day was...
And Sam's here. There's also some new people here, so I'll explain it one more time.
Cool.
I ranked my top sports cities based on a couple variables. One, they had to have at least 3 of the major sports. So in America, sorry for Sam's a big soccer guy, has to be NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB. Has to have 3 of those teams. And my list is solely based on how good those teams are right now, / because NFL, NBA in the offseason, how good they're projected to be in 2025. So I'm looking at basically the collection of which cities have it the best right now with the best sports teams.
Okay.
So number 5, I have Miami. A little bit down, but I made a case for the Heat to maybe be a top 4 seed in a shitty Eastern Conference in the NBA next year. I mean, no Tatum Celtics, no Dame Bucks. will Joel Embiid even play with the Sixers? I don't like. You know, as a Mavs fan, the East is a joke.
Tatum's not playing.
I missed a lot of this conversation, and I can tell exactly where this is going, like the rest of his rankings.
You don't know, but you being a hockey fan, you'll like that I put Miami at 5 because the only reason they're at 5 for me over a couple other teams is because I lumped in the Florida Panthers with Miami, back-to-back champs.
And the Heat made a good draft pick last time.
Yeah, Heat made a good pick.
So now they sneak into the top 5.
4, I had Philadelphia, Super Bowl champions. The Phillies currently tied with the Astros, which actually they might be 4th because the game they're playing each other today. It was in the 8th inning before. Astros just won, so the Phillies are in 4th place in the in all of the MLB in terms of the best teams in their record. Sixers, Flyers not so good, but Super Bowl champs that for me kind of puts them up into 4. All right,
you.
And you'll be seeing with our audience for the first time. Number 3, San Francisco, which actually, funny enough, I put San Francisco for a couple reasons. I lumped the Golden State Warriors in with San Francisco.
Okay.
They also have the Giants, the baseball Giants, and they have the 49ers.
This were 5 years ago.
Honestly,
Oakland would have been really high up there.
Oakland would have been high up, but you can't deny the Warriors. I think even though all 3 teams in San Francisco, they haven't won a championship this year, I think you could make an argument that they could all contend for one. The Giants are good. They just traded for Rafael Devers, who's open to play whatever position they need him to play. They'll be pretty good. The Warriors, I think Steph Curry's still good. There's even in a tough Western Conference, they beat the number 2 seed Houston Rockets this past year, which nobody really, they were the favorite to win, but it was still somewhat of a surprise. Like, dang, like the Warriors still got it. And the 49ers, I think, are, been to the Super Bowl twice in the past 5 years. Like,
So,
you're
Ed-
literally wearing the shirt right now.
Ed's saying Niners are in Santa Clara, not San Fran. I hear you loud and clear, but then also, we had to think about, again, the Florida Panthers. They're technically not in Miami, but we were like, all right, that team's really close to there. You
Yeah.
could also say the only team that's in New York is the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
So we just had to do certain.
I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole because then I'm like, are the Rangers even a Dallas team?
Because it's the San
are the
Francisco
Cowboys
49ers,
a Dallas team?
it's the 49ers. Just like New York Jets and Giants are New York, even though they play in New Jersey.
I would still put Dallas at number 5 over Miami, but if the criteria is like champions, I'm not going to argue with you. Miami has a champion and Dallas does not.
Yeah.
I think
And
Dallas sports right now are
honestly, if Dallas still had Luka, I think that would propel them to number 5 to me because the Stars are good. The Mavs, I think, would still be good. But it's even though he's the number 1 pick and he's supposed to be good, Cooper Flag, I can't be like, oh, I think the Mavs are going to do well next year. I don't think they're good. I think they might surprise some people and be a decent team. But I think you'd be out of your mind to be like, I think the Mavs are going to contend next year. They don't
We'll
even
see.
have Kyrie during the year.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Chris Paul and D'Angelo Russell. They tear up the league.
Also, before Chugs reveals number 2, sorry, I did want to tell people who got in the duck race. I had a few people asking. Richard Kelly, Patrick Roche, Yoda Jenkins, y'all were the first 3 in, so you guys got the free duck. And then Misty Williamson, Mark Call, Dungeon Fitness, Charles Dixon, that was a new one, and Gabriel Ruiz, y'all are in. $10 Venmo right now. You'd have the opportunity to win $130. After Jeremy reveals number 2 here for his list, I do just want to show all of y'all what the next step is in our challenge today here on the Raiders Report. Jugs, number 2.
Number 2, City of Angels, Los Angeles. You have the Dodgers. They're number 2 in the MLB right now. The reigning MLB champions.
Yep.
Won the World Series last year and are on track to, be one of the top 2, if not 3 teams whenever it comes in October.
Sure.
You have the Lakers and the Clippers, both teams who are pretty good. The Lakers kind of fizzled out. Clippers are going to Clipper.
Yep.
You have 2 football teams.
Yep.
The Chargers and the Rams, which you could argue the Chargers kind of took it down a little bit because I don't know if I see either of those teams. Maybe the Rams because
they
they're in
did just make the playoffs.
I think the Rams, because they're in the NFC, I see them as like maybe a contender. But football-wise, I don't see it there with the Rams or the Chargers. So it's a lot of the Dodgers pulling the weight that's putting this team at number 2. You have the
the Chargers, I hate the Chargers too. Give me an FLAC down below. They were a playoff team.
Yeah,
the Rams were a playoff team.
The LA Kings made the NHL playoffs, so they're a decent squad as well.
Yeah, the Lakers playoff team. I think when you really look at it, when basically all the teams that are for our criteria are playoff caliber teams, that puts them up there high. So that puts them up there high. Here's the thing, though.
I'm going to ask this question, and I think we know what the answer is going to be.
I think so, too. But, hey, you never know. What's the better sports city right now? Chugs has them ranked 3 and 2, and I figured the nation would be the perfect audience to ask this question to. Give me an LA or give me an SF. What's the better sports city as it stands right now? Chugs is going to go LA, and I agree with him. I also believe that LA right now is the better sports city.
I think
in terms of teams and teams alone, I don't want to hear anything about weather or
fans or
nothing. It's just the teams and where they're at right now.
Which city has better food?
Rebel, that list is rigged.
I mean, yes, because I made it. But.
I was going to say, in terms of our own personal rankings, I will say my top 5 might be a little bit different, but at the same time, I don't dislike Jeremy's top 5. Though, when you see number 1, I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say. Crash Dog's going to go L.A., and I'm seeing a lot of L.A.'s down below from, though Trey Jones says San Francisco.
We got a lot of Doyers fans.
Richie says New York, but New York,
John
they
Scheffler,
might be number 1, Dad.
John Scheffler put it best.
What did Chef say? The Giants suck. The Mets winning nothing. The Giants ain't win nothing.
The Jets.
Yeah, they're
Yankees.
Bad. I mean, they're good right now. They're struggling a little bit at this current moment, but they're still a good team. Like the Yankees and Mets are, I would say, 2 of the best teams in the MLB. I don't think that's an outlandish thing. The Giants and the Jets are not.
The Knicks, good.
The Knicks are absolutely up there.
Brooklyn brings them down a lot.
I'll be real. I didn't even think of Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn does bring them down. The Rangers, a hockey team, I have no idea.
They made the playoffs. They did well this year.
Okay. The Islanders, how did they do? I don't know. Actually, I think the Islanders won. I think they went into the playoffs. I think so.
Not a big hockey.
Tom Davis just said Texas, which living down here, there are people that probably think Texas is a city.
It's a country, actually.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I bet you that if you ask certain people, Texas is not a part of the U.S. to some people. And I'm not kidding you when I say that. It is a mind-blowing state to live in.
I do see some super chats that we'll be able to get to in our mailbag in just a moment. I'll have those be some of the first questions. But if you haven't yet gotten a question in, hashtag Raiders,
please,
or super chat to get on the show. We still have a lot of openings for questions in the mailbag. So if you have a good question, I will say we've gotten some already Wilkins questions. So if you have a different one, go ahead and ask it. But try to be creative with your question. Ask us something about the Raiders, or you can ask something about the NFL as well.
Please, please, please. Also, we are doing something today that kind of is very similar to what we used to do for Thursday Night Football and all of our shit shows. I loved last week's show where everybody was like, all right, Mitch, I want you to start the Friday happy hour out with a boot. And anytime you start a Friday happy hour with a boot, it's going to turn into a shit show. So today I said, here's my deal. I'll start off tomorrow's show with a bullpen boot. Whatever 3 beers Jeremy picks out of the fridge, all 3 are going to be different. They're going to get thrown into a boot. That's how I'm going to start tomorrow's show off. Here's how we're going to get to step 4. I need 2 bangs to reveal step 5. I'll also say this. The next 2 bangs that we get are going to be doubled. So 100, you get 2 bangs. If you send in a 200, you technically get 4 bangs. That's how I'm going to do it. Though I'm looking right now, and I do think that Fabian Moreno, he did bang earlier on today's show. I would like to be able to honor him with one of those bangs. Here's the thing, though. Fabian, you didn't know what the special deal was. Do we count it as 2? I'm good with it. All right, so Fabian, since you banged earlier, I'll say this. We are 1 bang away from revealing the next step here on today's show. 1 bang away from the next one. Zahn says, that boot sounds disgusting. I'm all about it. Zahn, I mean, how many people here, has anybody ever heard the term, like, it's a bullpen game for, like, beer drinking?
As somebody who watches the Astros, I'm very well aware of bullpen games because we've had multiple no-hitter bullpen games.
Really?
Where it's like 4 guys pitching.
I mean, I sometimes I almost think like that might be more difficult from a pitching standpoint, not from the hitter standpoint, because the hitter, it makes it more difficult when you see different arms, but from a pitching standpoint, that's really difficult to do. But I mean, like, Zahn, it's one of those things where we have so many random beers in there at times, and I want to try to clear out some of the room in there before the season gets started. So we got some random beers that we can get rid of. Like, if you wanted me to, Zahn, I could do your favorite beer, a Bud Light, with a Happy Dad, and I don't know if we still have the Spotted Cow, but I think that we might still have the Spotted Cow. Well, I don't know if we have a Spotted Cow, but we have somebody that's trying to go for GOAT status. The Night Devil! Bang! But you know what? We got a race going on today that, I'm telling you this, would rival some of the best races and competitions that we've seen in Raiders Report history. Because Patrick Roche! Bang! From the top, Roche! Mr. Patrick Roche in for a bang. Patrick, I'm going to count that also as 2 bangs for you, which means we can advance to step number 5 of 6, which puts us at need 6 people to join the duck race to reveal the final step. If you don't know what the duck race is up to right now, it is a $10 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Right now you would go home with $135 here on the Raiders Report. 6 people need to get in to reveal that final step. No Madden today.
Mondays and Fridays.
Madden tomorrow. Raiders need a bounce back week. Oh, we play. Dude, I actually forgot about that. Raiders Browns tomorrow. Shador.
It's Shador.
Jugs goes, should I put Shador in? And I'm like, dude, if we're doing a Madden game for the Browns, you got to put Shador in.
Kenny Pickett. No.
Wow, that's actually
I did not. I made sure Shiloh was a 99.
That's an elite joke. I'm not going to lie. Well, technically it'd be 101.
Because of the car.
Wow. Patrick Roche
I gave
and the Night Devil.
I gave Shiloh 99 awareness. Yes.
So technically, Fabian, I have you down for 32 because it was doubled.
You want to say what's up to Rebel? You'll probably see him in a second.
Go home, Rebel. Never change, Reb.
Hey,
never change.
Marshall, he said he'll see you over on Knicks.
Mitch and Chugs, can you please put the link in for the NBA live stream? I got you. Hang on a second.
Didn't they put it in there?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
If anybody wants to watch our chat sports coverage of the NBA draft, I mean this, and again, I'm not somebody that knows a lot about the NBA, but ESPN, NBC, the coverage of the NBA draft, I don't know if you guys have been watching or hearing the stories. I think sad's actually a great word for it. For the amount of resources that those company has and for the product that was put out, it's really sad.
You can tell they just don't care.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and I'll say this. If you want NBA draft coverage from a bunch of guys that give a shit and from a bunch of guys that were here late last night that got here bright and early today, go subscribe to Chat Sports. I promise you this. You're not going to find guys that know more about NBA draft prospects, that know more about the NBA than our Chat Sports team. And I'm very confident when I say that. I am. I think the way I know the Raiders is the way that our NBA guys know the NBA. And that's the type of content that I look for on YouTube. I don't want people... Colin Cowherd got drafted yesterday. And if you didn't see that story, that's just another one to add to the list.
Not good.
Yeah, it was brutal.
All right, Mitch, you ready to answer some questions?
I am, in fact, ready to answer some questions. Reminder, we need 6 people to enter the duck race. And I just looked. I saw Darth Fatass is in. I saw Gabriel Ruiz is in. Darth, I got you down for 2. Rustin Long in. So we got 2 more that we got to get to, and that's going to reveal the final step for my bullpen boot tomorrow. It's going to be something else that I can guarantee. All right, so mailbag time here. Reminder, #Raiders or Super Chat to get your questions, comments up on screen, and I'm going to do my best to answer as many questions as humanly possible here for the next 15 to 20 minutes. It's mailbag time here on the Raiders Report. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in to today's show. Friendly reminder that this was filmed on June 22nd. So if anything has changed from now until then, don't hate me. All the questions that you're going to see are from our loyal subscribers. And if you're watching a mailbag in the middle of June, I salute you. You're a real one. Let's go to Young Money. Let's trade Wilkins and a first-round pick for Terry McLaurin. I'm going to be honest with you, Young Money. That's a terrible idea. You don't even have to really give up a first-round pick, and I say that now because I'm making a video on June 26th. I have already recorded a Terry McLaurin video. You can go check it out. It'll be on the channel, I believe, on Friday, so please go check that one out. But trading away Christian Wilkins and a first-round pick for Terry McLaurin is a really bad idea. Let's go to John Rodriguez. Mitch, I hope that the Raiders protected themselves from Wilkins' contract, no play, no pay. Unfortunately, they did the exact opposite of that. When you give somebody like Wilkins the amount of guaranteed money that he's gotten, and they've already restructured his contract once. Christian Wilkins is a Raider. And I think the sooner people realize that you're not going to be able to trade him because people are going to trade for an injured player, and you literally cannot cut him this season, and you can't cut him next year, because why would you cut a player? You're either going to pay Christian Wilkins to be on your team, or you're going to pay Christian Wilkins to cut him. Wilkins is going to be a part of this regime, guaranteed. This season, next season, 2027 is when there's at least a possibility that it could be dealt, or a possibility that it could be cut. But he's got a salary cap of $33 million, and if he's not playing, nobody's going to trade for $33 million defensive tackle. Let's go to El Hernandez. I'm saying we are over 10 wins. Y'all agree. Let's go Raiders. El, I love the optimism. To me, if Wilkins can prove that he's able to tough it out with the foot injury, and he's able to show that he's a good player, Tyree Wilson takes the next step, Malcolm Kuntz plays the way that I'm hoping Malcolm does, Max Crosby takes another step of being one of the best players in the NFL, Genty's the back that we think he is, Geno goes out there and does his thing. I don't think 10 wins is that crazy of an idea, right? I mean, Geno won 10 games last season with the Seattle Seahawks. The Raiders are a playoff caliber team. I have them down for 9 wins. So obviously, we're not all that much different. Let's go to Roche again. What up, dude? Why do you think they're waiting so long to extend Meyers and Miller? I think they're waiting because I don't know if the urgency is there. And not because they don't value Jakobi and not because they don't value Kolton. They value both of those players. But Jakobi was showing up for non-mandatory things. Kolton Miller out there showing up for non-mandatory things. And because both of those players have just expressed, I want to be Raider, I want to be a Raider for life, I like my situation, maybe they're just, not panicking, and because they're confident that these two players are going to go out there and they're going to play for him this season. And I'll also say this, we as Raider fans say, oh, extend Jakobi, extend Kolton. And I know Kolton and Jakobi are saying the right things, but at the same time, this might be one of their last opportunities to hit the open market. And maybe if Kolton Miller thinks, hey, 1-year prove-it deal, I can hit the open market, I'm a free agent at 30, get paid big. Jakobi Meyers, same exact thing. I can get paid big. And for two guys that haven't done a lot of winning the past few seasons, that could be another reason. But I think ultimately the Raiders will get 2 extensions done before week 1 of the regular season. Let's go to DC Lover 99, Von Miller and Max do the summit together. Could we sign him? So I know today, at the day that I'm recording, was the sack summit where it's Crosby, Cam Jordan, and Von Miller. They run a camp for a lot of players, and they just kind of perfect the overall, pass rushing ability. But here's what I'll say, and I would love to be able to do this, and I don't know how often it has happened, but I feel like every single year at around this time, I'll get a question because Max and Vaughn have done the sack summit together of, hey, Mitch, could the Raiders bring in Von Miller? I'll tell you this, and shout out to Chugs for finding this real quick. 6 sacks last season in 13 games, 8 sacks in 2022. 2021 played on a few different teams, and all I'm going to say is this. For a team like the Buffalo Bills to move on from Von Miller, that tells me that they believe that he no longer can help a team that is clearly in a Super Bowl win now mode. They don't think that he can still help and play at that high of a level. To me, it's really going to come down to what you would pay Miller, because I know that he can be a good, reliable veteran, but what exact type of veteran are we going to get? So I think this is a good pinned comment here. Should the Raiders sign Von Miller? Give me a yes, give me a no. My answer after this YouTube ad break. The only reason why I'm going to say no is because I think it's actually going to cost more than what people realize. And Vaughn at this time of his career is probably going to be looking for $5, $6, $7 million. And I just think that, yes, could Von Miller in a perfect world help out the Raiders? The answer to that question is yes, absolutely. But do I think signing Von Miller is more important than extending Jakobi Meyers, extending Kolton Miller, signing a free safety like a Justin Simmons, a Julian Blackmon, signing a nickel corner than Mike Hilton? All of those answers are no. And because we only have a limited amount of salary cap, if we're going out and we're signing a guy like Von Miller, we better have done all those other things that I just mentioned, because those are way more important than going out and getting Von Miller. Let's go to Armin. You're next up here on the show. I'm very scared about this secondary. Is there a chance Pete gets both Mike Hilton and Justin Simmons? Is there a chance? I mean, yeah, there's a chance for anything. But, Armin, I think your question here is exactly why I wouldn't go out and get Von Miller, because there's other bigger needs that this team has. I think Mike Hilton's a possibility because he played with Jermaine Pratt. This team values coaching connections. The nickel is a need that we have. And then Justin Simmons, he's got multiple coaching connections with Brian Stark, the Raiders assistant general manager, the Raiders, oh my gosh, not DB coach. I can't think of his name. It's honestly really pissing me off. It was Justin Simmons' first DB coach. Joe Woods, thank you. Joe Woods, who's with the Raiders right now, and he's in a pass game coordinator type of role. Because he's got multiple connections and because both of those are big-time team needs and we have the money to do it, I don't think it's likely. You probably have to pick one or the other, but there's connections and there's enough reasons why I think both of these players make sense for the Raiders. Let's go to LV. Appreciate you tuning in to the show, my man. I'm a big Texas fan. Will Colin Johnson make the team? No. I would be shocked at this point if he ends up making the roster, and I only say that because where exactly does he fit in? You got Jakobi Meyers, you got Trey Tucker, Dante Thornton Jr., Jack Besh, Tommy Mellott. Those are your top 5 wide receivers. If it was up to me, I'm probably going to keep those 5 players, and if you told me the Raiders then keep Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers, and Ian Thomas, and then out of all the tight ends and out of all the wide receivers, they're going to keep one more player, I think the name that the nation needs to keep in mind, and I featured him in my 53-man roster video, my latest one, is Qadir Ishmael, and it's only because I heard from a few good sources at Raiders OTAs and at Raiders minicamp, was he's long, he's lanky, and he's a good athlete at the receiver position that also gives you some tight end flexibility. Colin Johnson doesn't really give you any tight end flexibility, he's just too small. Now, yeah, Qadir's not 6'6" like Johnson is, but he's still long, lanky, and he's a good athlete. So I think if they end up keeping another player outside of the 3 main tight ends and out of the 5 main wide receivers, Qadir Ishmael is the name that I'm going to throw out there to keep in mind. If you're looking for more Raiders Report mailbags, hey, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and make sure you pull up for our live shows. I typically record my mailbags when I go live on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. Let's go to my dude from Germany. What up, Steven? What is realistic? Wilkins play this season or extend the Meyers and Miller contracts? Which one's more realistic? I mean, if I have to say more realistic, I'm going to go with the Kolton Miller and Jakobi Meyers contract because I believe both of those things need to happen. For Wilkins, the Wilkins situation is a very confusing one, right? I was told by a source that Wilkins needs a second surgery. His problem is he doesn't want to have it, and he thinks that he can play through it. The fact that he's still in a walking boot, though, obviously indicates that something is not 100% right. And I think if you're Wilkins, you probably want to just go out there and test it. And let's say, the Raiders have a Week 9 bye right before the NFL trade deadline. If the Raiders aren't in the mix, maybe Wilkins then goes, you know what, I tried, I did my best. No matter what, I was going to need the second surgery. Hopefully nothing else happened. I'll just get it cleaned up then, and then I'll be ready for the 2026 season. But if Wilkins does make it worse, which I was talking to a few of my doctor buddies, shout out to my guy Jesse, he was texting me yesterday. He was like, I don't know if he can make it worse, but him wearing a boot indicates to me that there is something a lot more than what we know. And maybe we do, maybe we don't. But all I know is the Raiders medical team wants Christian Wilkins to get another surgery. Wilkins does not want to have one. But for your question, I would say Jakobi and Kolton Miller. Also, for those of you that do not know, I am doing a fantasy football league this season. I've had so many people ask me to do them in years past, and I never knew exactly how to do them. So this year, we're going to give an opportunity to the real ones. And the real ones are the people that watch this show June, July, when nothing is going on. If you want to get in for a chance to be in my fantasy football league this year, you can send in a $5 super thanks if you can't join us live, or you can send in a $5 super chat. Every super thanks, every super chat is a one raffle ticket. We're going to announce that winner on June 30th. Let's go to SV Nation. I think the Raiders get much better this season. Any other teams you think will be much better? I'll go with Chicago as obviously the first team that pops into my mind, and that's just because I believe in Ben Johnson. I like what they did on their offensive line. I think Caleb Williams in his second season is going to take a step forward, and I think a lot of people maybe aren't. I don't think that that's that crazy of a statement to make ultimately. I do think another team, though, that we could see just in terms of just being a little bit better of a football team, I do honestly wonder if the Tennessee Titans could surprise some people, and I only say that because that defense is actually a good defense. I like what they did, and Cam Ward is going to be a better quarterback than what they have. I don't expect Tennessee to take the leap like the Washington Commanders did, but you know what? If Cam Ward goes out there and does his thing, could they win 8 games? And I think if you asked a lot of Titans fans right now, could they win 8 games? Seems like a lot of games. Not enough to win that division, but I'll throw out the Tennessee Titans as a random other team that might be better than what people give them credit for. Let's go to Raider Nation for Life XX. I drafted Mostert in a PPR league. How many catches will he have this season? I think that Mostert's going to be a player that burns a lot of people in fantasy football, and I only say that because of what Pete Carroll said, where he was like, we're going to go with a running back by committee approach, and he also, though, said, like, we're going to go with the hot hand. If Raheem Mostert's got a hotter hand than Ashton Genty, that's going to be a big red flag. For the sake of your question here, I'm going to go with somewhere around like 23, 24, 25 catches this season because I do think he's going to get some third down work, and I know he's got ties to Chip Kelly, but like historically, Mostert hasn't been a big PPR monster. Like I was just looking at his stats the other day. 31 catches is his career high. 25 catches. I mean, he's only gone over, I want to say 20 catches maybe 3 times in his entire career, and 31 was his absolute max. I believe he had 25 catches the year he rushed for 18-something touchdowns. So I know Pete Carroll's comments, but I really do think that you're going to see Ashton Genty truly be that bell cow back, and guys like Most are going to pop in when Genty needs a breather. He'll get his opportunities, but I'll go with 23, 24, let's say 25 catches for Raheem Mostert this upcoming season. So you know what? Way down below for everybody that's tuned in right now, from Hell Raider, Jake Serb, Rebel Montana, I see you guys watching the live show. Please go down below. Let me know. How many catches will Raheem Mostert have this upcoming season? Bonus points if you also want to tell me how many yards. I'm just going to sit up here again and continue to go 25, 24, 23 for Mostert. He will get his opportunities, and I kind of anticipate he's going to be somewhere around the 80 to 100 touch mark this season for the Silver and Black. Let's go to C. Gabe Go. What up, man? What's the floor for the amount of wins the team ends up with? What do you think happened during the season for that result? So you're saying the lowest amount of wins that the Raiders could have this season? The floor, I'll go with 4 wins. And the Raiders get 4 wins if Geno Smith gets injured and Aiden O'Connell doesn't take a step forward. Like, I think Genty's going to be a hell of a running back this season. Injuries obviously can happen, right? Like, we're already talking about a potential Christian Wilkins injury. If our secondary, doesn't play the way that I'm hoping it's going to be able to play, but if we don't add talent on that defensive line and our secondary gets exploited and we're trailing a lot of games, then maybe we're not able to run the football the way we want to with Genty, which then forces Aiden O'Connell to go out there and throw the football. We're also counting on, Dante Thornton Jr., Trey Tucker, 2 field stretchers. Doesn't fit AOC's mold. Yes, Jakobi Meyers and Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers are solid options, but I think you'd have to say the floor could be 4 wins. A lot would have to go wrong, but also a lot went wrong last season. And I just don't see this team being worse than what they were last season. Let's go to Christian Tate. What's up, my man? Will the Raiders' O-line be better this season? I frickin' hope so. James Craig no longer a member of this offensive line coaching staff. Thank the frickin' Lord. I also just have more confidence in the Raiders line in general. Second year from JPJ, playing center. I expect big things from him. DJ Glaze entering year 2. Expect big things from him. Kolton Miller from week 6 to 18 last season was one of the better offensive linemen, 13th best in the NFL according to PFF. Expect a better thing from him. Dylan Parham back at left guard next to JPJ. Miller, when you think about then also the depth, Alex Kappa, you can say what you want, but I think he was at least a good depth piece. Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, Jordan Meredith. We have legit 8 to 9 offensive linemen that I would believe in, depending on where you put them. So, yes, I do think that this Raiders offensive line is better. If I was unable to get to your question, you can always hit me up on Instagram and on Twitter. I am at Mitchell Renz 365, and I try to put out as much content as humanly possible. I've also been putting out a lot more, we'll call them short-form content if you can't join our live shows. But, hey, you want to see a 60-second clip of something from the show, you can always follow me. Again, social media, at Mitchell Renz 365. Let's go to Caleb Tarr. What's up, dog? Gotta dig a grave for my dog when I get home. Got him the same year we drafted Derek Carr. He hated
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
R.I.P.
I mean, I think the day that I am right now when Chuck goes, I'm not going to be well. And unfortunately, Alex's sister had to put one of her dogs down earlier this year. And just going through that experience with her, I was beside myself. I feel really bad for you, dude. Chuck is my dude. Chuck is my best buddy. I can't wait to hang out with him when I get home from work today. So I know I don't have any kids, but Chuck I'm a dog dad, and I am very, very proud to say that. So Caleb, really, really sorry to hear that, man. I can't imagine how difficult that is for you, but I'm glad that he hated the Chiefs. So he's a real one for that.
For Worm, can we get some FKCs in the chat?
For Worm, can we get some FKCs down below, man?
Sound like you really hated the Chiefs.
I feel bad for you, dude. I really do. I really, really do.
Ugh,
I think when Chuck goes, I'm going to take a few days off. Like, if you were to ask me when our streak could potentially end of putting out a video every single day, I think it's... My dad probably is going to hate me for what I'm going to say. It's probably either the death of my mom or my dad or Chuck. like those are probably going to be what it would be. But FKC's from Taino, Gary Backus, Darren, Blaine Craig, Michael Swanson. Thank you guys for, I think, having the backs of all the people that make this show happen. Caleb, again, dude, really, really sorry, dude. Really, really, really sorry, dude. Reminder, if you're trying to get in the duck race, it is a $10 Venmo to get in. I said we were 2 away from revealing the final step, and I just want to let y'all know that we did end up getting those 2 extras. So Julio Zapata, I see you. I got you in. Gabriel Ruiz has got a few extra ducks. I got you in. Husker Raider, Joseph Witt. Hopefully I pronounced that right.
It's Whit.
Witt. Soldier Man in. Gary Backus, I got you in. As it stands right now, James Nicely. Dude, James, is your last name really Nicely? That's pretty sick. Right now, as it stands, Charles G, I got you in. $10 Venmo for an opportunity to go home with $200 here on today's show. Patrick Roche, good news still coming in about Michael Mayer. Are you saying like there is still good news, or are you asking me that question?
I think he's like, we've heard good things about Michael Mayer.
We've heard a lot of good things about Mayer, and to me, one of the things that I'll always look at is how are the Raiders trying to use him? And I would say Michael Mayer and Dante Thornton Jr. on the offensive side of the football, not named Genty and not named Geno Smith, were probably the two players that I thought the Raiders were just trying to see what they had. And, you know, I know that they want to do a lot of 2 to 3 tight end sets. I know this team wants to be a physical football team. And I do really think that Michael Mayer is going to take a step forward because heard from a few players that he looks good. Heard from a few other, you know, people close to him, let's call it, that were really like, hey, he's motivated, he's ready to go, which I get it. You're probably going to hear that this time of the year. But the Raiders also were very pleased in what they saw, and Geno often went to Michael Mayer. So I'm really hoping that he turns out to be the player that I was hoping he turns out to be, because I do really honestly think that we have 2 tight ends that are talented enough to go down, and I get it, Aaron Hernandez, terrible human being, but when I think of great 2 tight end sets, I think it's Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez. From a talent standpoint alone, Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer can be that combination. And that might be a loud statement out loud, but to me, there's no reason why, when it's all said and done, we could be up here going, Brock Bowers is better than Rob Gronkowski. Brock Bowers is better than Travis Kelce, better than Tony Gonzalez, better than Antonio Gates, better than George Kittle. And because we have a potential to have the greatest tight end of all time, and I don't think that that's a crazy statement to make. Do you agree with me? Brock Bowers has a chance to be the greatest tight end of all time. If the answer to that is yes, and if Michael Mayer can be a top 10 tight end, that's one of the best tight end duos in the NFL history. We have a chance to do that. I get it. There's a chance. Might not be a big chance, but there's definitely a chance. And not every NFL team can say that. So here we go. The final step here for my bullpen boot. And what would the last step be without a little bit of a deal? If we get one more bang, I got to start tomorrow's show off with a bullpen boot. If you're like, Mitch, what's a bullpen boot? Chugs walks into the fridge, takes 3 different beers, pours them in a boot. That's how we start tomorrow's show off. And I'll be honest, it's gonna ruffle some feathers, and mainly those feathers are going to be mine. Here's my final deal, though. If we get 3 bangs before the show ends, I get to give Chugs a bullpen boot.
Wait, what?
Read it. 3 bangs, Chugs joins me tomorrow.
No, yeah, I'll do a boot.
Not a bullpen boot.
Nah.
No way.
I'll do a Happy Dad boot.
Happy Dad boot? Yeah, bullpen boot's crazy. Chugs is like, my stomach's not going to hold that.
Oh, no.
Fair enough. I thought maybe I could get one by him.
I read that as I'll do a boot as well.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I read it and wrote it as Chugs will join me tomorrow for a bullpen boot. So I didn't put it in the fine print. Yoda, Chugs, say what? Yeah. Which actually also brings me to the final thing we got to talk about today. Tuna's Top 5. The best sports city as it stands right now.
And if you're just now joining us, I'll explain it one more time. This ranking is based on not anything about the cities themselves, not about the fans, not about the past. It's about how good the current teams are in that city and how good they're projected to be. So
Anthony
NFL
Green,
teams, how good do you think they'll be? NBA teams, how good do you think they'll be? MLB teams, how good are they right now, and could they possibly win a World Series? NHL teams, if they have it. It just has to have 3 of the major 4 sports, so hockey, football, basketball, baseball. So Las Vegas, unfortunately, did not make the cut.
So who do you think?
Until the A's come to town.
I think also they need a basketball team. Now, I originally said, again, Chugs, I was like Aces basketball, but again, we were opening up a different can of worms, and not every team obviously has a WNBA team. So my question to y'all is, who do you think is number one on Chugs' list? We're going to reveal who that number one team is, but first, a word from our sponsor. Patrick Roche! Bang! From the top Roche! Bullpen boot to start the show tomorrow.
Let's go.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. You know what we could do? We could bring out all the options tomorrow, and they could pick.
We could do that.
Would you guys rather just Chugs pick the bullpen boot, or we'll bring you out all the options and y'all can pick? I mean, it doesn't matter to me. No matter what, I'm getting a combination of something.
I don't know. God, family, and Raiders. That's what it is.
Super chat for that badass Raider mug, Mitch. My guy Gabriel Ruiz, he hooked it up. I'm not going to lie to you, dude. I use this probably every day. I think it's a great way to know how much water I'm drinking, and because I've been taking a lot of creatine, not a lot of creatine, I've just been taking creatine, this helps me drink water. I probably drink like 4 or 5 of these a day.
All right, what city do we think I chose?
What time is the show tomorrow? 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. 1 p.m. Ike Nasty said, Chugs definitely went H-Town. Toxic Tom says, has to be Boston. Sergio, Seattle, Chicago, Phoenix, San Francisco.
We think Phoenix?
I'll say, who's in Phoenix?
I mean,
Arizona.
I guess
the Cardinals.
The Cardinals, the D-backs, and the
Suns.
And the Suns. Suns weren't good.
Are the
Cardinals
Coyotes
weren't good?
Or the hockey team? Is the Coyotes any good?
No, they left. They left for Utah.
Right. No, you're right. As soon as I said that, I'm like, I'm not even there
Will
anymore.
was like a fan for 6 months.
Husker Raider. I'm a Suns fan, and no. Oh, Husker.
A couple of people are smart. A couple people got it in the chat, and they know it's the correct answer. H-Town. It's Houston. Houston is the number one sports city going into next year. You have 3 teams that I truly believe can contend for a championship in their respective sports. The Astros, currently the 3rd best team in the MLB. They just beat the 4th best team, the Phillies, and they're doing it without their best hitter in Yordan Alvarez in the lineup. He's been out for the past 30, 40 some odd days. They have the Rockets. They just traded for Kevin Durant. They were the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, the much more difficult conference in the NBA. You add on Kevin Durant, you still have money to play with if you're the Houston Rockets, and you have ascending guys like Amin Thompson, Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith. That team is ready to contend in the West. And then you have the Houston Texans, who in the AFC are in easily the worst division in the entire National Football League, looking to three-peat as AFC South champs. And we all know it's all about getting to the dance. You got to get to the playoffs. And I think truly the Texans have the easiest path to the playoffs out of any team in the NFL. And once they're there, I think they have a top 5 defense. And when it comes down to the playoffs, if you have a top 5 defense, I think you have a chance to win the Super Bowl. So I think all 3 teams in Houston have a chance to make and win a championship in this calendar year.
All right, I'll say this. I do agree with Jeremy that Houston does deserve to be in the top 5. My tiebreaker where I disagree with something that you said there, and you said you got to be able to make it to the dance. I agree. And I think the Texans, the Astros, all these teams, they have a shot to make it to the dance. But none of them won the dance, which is why I would give my tip of the cap to Los Angeles.
He heard Houston, and he came running.
I was actually coming to say something completely unrelated.
Yeah, what is it?
Hot.
People are talking.
People are talking. Now, I'll say this. I would not have put Houston at number 1. This is Chugs' list. I do think based on again, all the teams in those major sports, I can make an argument that they deserve to be in the top 5. I do think actually Houston deserves to be over New York, where I saw Rebels saying New York, and I only say that because the Jets and the Giants are not good. And they haven't been good for a long time. And I thought LA for me probably would have been number 1.
I'm just saying, I was going between a couple different teams, but I truly believe when it comes to 3 of the 4 major sports, which the only sport that the Astros don't have is
Ed Robbins, send Chugs for a drug test.
Yeah. They don't have an NHL team, so I can't really base it off that.
Fair.
But for the 3 sports they have, the 3 major sports, I mean, is there a better sports town right now to be a fan of sports and watch every single major sport than Houston? Every single sport, your team is competitive and they're good.
I think LA can say the same. And again, if I think you gave a great argument for Houston. And when you first started doing this list earlier this morning and you put Houston up there, I was like, oh boy, I can't wait to see the reactions. The tiebreaker for me is, has a Houston sports team, did they win a championship last season? The answer to that is no. Did the Dodgers? That answer is yes. But I do agree that Houston has a legit shot to win a title in all 3 of those sports.
Yeah, and Toxic Tom, I originally had Boston at 5. But the thing is this. The Celtics,
They stink. They're not going to be.
They're not going to be good because of Tatum. And that's the real thing that hinders the Boston sports town fandom.
Do you think the Patriots are going to be good this season? I don't know if I do.
And the other thing about the Dodgers is
Sox?
I'm like, with the MLB at least, because they're mid-season, I was looking at more how teams are going to project, which the Dodgers are the second best record, 2 games ahead of the Astros right now.
Sure.
So that they could also contend in that. But if I'm looking at Boston sports, Patriots, rebuild mode. I mean, they could be good. They could be a team that could get better this year, but they also have to contend with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. You look at the other sports in Boston, the Bruins, okay. I don't think they made a strong push in the playoffs.
The reason why we had to clarify based on right now and in the future was because of Boston, or at least for me, was because of Boston, because I think Boston is known for being one of the greatest sports cities in the U.S., but in all honesty, their sports teams right now
are not good. The Red Sox stink.
They're not very good right now. And I don't think that you can debate that. Like, they're not very good right now.
If we were talking, and if this was a list of like all-time sports towns, I realized Houston would not crack maybe even the top 10. Because I think there are better historical sports towns. I mean, you could even have an argument, if we're talking historical, that Oakland should be ahead of Houston. With the Warriors, the Raiders,
the A's.
The A's. If we're talking historical. But I'm talking right now in the year 2025 and looking forward.
I hear you.
No rear view mirrors on my car, on my self-driving Tesla.
There you go.
Only front windshield.
Yeah, I can't wait to pick you up one day. And
as Jelly Roll said, there's a reason why the front windshield is bigger than the back, because you should be looking forward.
I don't love Jelly Roll's music.
Oh, Ed Robbins, I'm sorry. New York is not. Both their football teams suck. The Giants suck.
From watching
the Jets
American
suck.
Idol,
the only team that carries New York right now, in my opinion, would be the Yankees. The Mets are not the Yankees. The New York Knicks. The Yankees and Mets are both, I would say, average to good. They're not wowing me this year with how they've played.
I mean, the Mets and Yankees, I would say,
they're good.
2 of the top 6 teams in the MLB.
2 of the top 6 teams in the MLB right now?
Yeah. Now, the Mets have lost 9 out of 10 or something like that. And they're still 45. They're probably 46 and 32 if I had to guess.
47 and 34.
And that's, again, losing probably 9 out of their last 10 games. But I think the problem that hurts New York in that scenario is, and, it's I think the other hard part about New York, does Buffalo count?
No.
See, and that's where, for me,
because it's
we're talking cities. I get it, and I don't think, and I agree where it's not fair that New York just gets a whole state.
Well, and also because Buffalo also has
Sabres.
the Sabres. They have multiple sports teams there.
Yeah, fair. But like the New York Jets and the New York Jets are not good football.
Aiden, I'm sorry. If the Rockets were in the East, they might have been to the NBA Finals this year.
I
The
probably won't
East
disagree
sucks.
with that.
The East is cheeks. They are ass in the NBA. Anybody
Emmanuel.
that thinks
I'm
the
with you,
Eastern
Emmanuel.
Conference, I bet you if they just reseeded and just played team to team, the past 5 years it would be Western Conference versus Western Conference. I could make an argument that that would be the case. If they didn't go East-West, if they reseeded after the
I think you gotta
NBA
give
regular season,
I think you gotta give the Celtics more credit.
the
year
Celtics
before.
are good.
The year before, like when they actually won it, I think they probably were the best team in the NBA.
But I'll say this: the East, the past 5-6 years, have legitimately only had, I would say, 3 to 4 teams each year that deserve to make the playoffs.
I don't know. I'm not so much in the basketball loop, but I think I could also say this, that there were so many teams in the West that were like, not that they didn't care about the regular season, but just thought, all right, if we get in, we got a chance to go. Where, like, yes, the Rockets were the number 2 seed and the Warriors were the 7 seed, but the Warriors were the better team, despite the Rockets having the better regular season. Though, with KD, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I think anytime KD's on a team that, if you were telling me there was a 2 seed in the NBA and they added Kevin Durant in the offseason, that's a team that's going to contend for a title. And I think it has to be. All right, y'all. Final chance to get in for the duck race here on today's show. And if you don't know, it is a $10 Venmo right now for an opportunity to go home with $205 here on today's show. So final chance to get in. Tomorrow, I'm going to be live. Raiders, Browns, Madden simulation. I got to start off tomorrow's show with a bullpen boot. I'm going to let y'all pick the beers that we're going to decide to throw in there. Shedeur Sanders is the Browns quarterback. And
Shedeur.
we don't always, we're going to mix things up from time to time. And I think I can make an argument that maybe Shedeur is the quarterback come week 12. I don't know. But I figured if we're going to do a Madden sim, let's just do it with Shedeur. It's going to be fun. It's the way that it should probably be. It's the way the prize should be. All right, final chance to get in here, Jeremy. I'm going to send the list over. What up, Nav, man?
I already got it.
I got you in. Now it's 10 to win, $210. Also, Nav, I know you and I were talking the other day about me joining your live show. I'm going to try to figure out a way here in the next few weeks in order to do that. I know it would help you out a lot, and obviously you've done so much for this channel. I got to be able to figure out which days I can necessarily do it and how exactly we would run it. But I would like to be able to do a show with you sometime this off season. Just let me know how exactly it aligns with your schedule. I know it might be a little bit easier, maybe not, but I would like to be able to help you out. What up, God family? Another super chat for that bad. Oh, okay. I read this one earlier. Shout out to Gabriel, dude. Cheers to you, my man. And then I see. Oh wait, can I get a Raiders? No, man. I would replace San Francisco with Boston easily. San Francisco only has the Giants, Niners, and I guess you could say Warriors. We did add the Warriors. Duck race today. Yep, long time no see, fellas. I think, to me, though, 49ers or Patriots. I think the 49ers are the better football team. Giants or the Red Sox. The Giants are the better baseball team.
Warriors and Celtics going into next year, I'd take the Warriors.
I think the Warriors are the better team. So, again, it's
even
based on right now.
And even if you want to add the NHL, I guess for them, I would add the San Jose Sharks. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think they're pretty comparable to the Bruins.
I mean, I'll tell you, I would pick a Shark to beat a Bruin in a fight, especially if it was on ice.
Yeah.
No, actually, I have no idea. All right, last one, Ed Robbins, a.k.a. Ed Robbins. He said, Chugs, Rockets will be out of the playoffs. Astros will be out in first round.
Okay.
And the Texans are a one-pony show with no playoffs. So
That's
here's
actually not true. The Texans have been to the playoffs the past 2 years and won.
I feel like they
playoff
have
game.
the easiest road to the playoffs based on the division they play. So I'm going to ask you a question. Out of the Rockets, the Astros, and the Texans, which team is the most likely to not make the playoffs? Gotta pick one.
Got to pick one.
Gotta pick one.
Honestly, I'd probably say the Texans. Because where the Astros, if you would have asked me before the season, I would have said Astros easily. They lost Kyle Tucker. They lost Alex Bregman.
Okay.
Two of the better players on their roster.
I agree.
So before the season, I would have said the Astros, but I can't say the Astros with them sitting at 48-33 right now, 2.5 games back of the Detroit Tigers being the best team in the MLB.
Yep.
Like, if we go for their division, they are 6 games ahead of the Seattle Mariners. Now, we've seen teams,
Yeah. They're also doing
kind
it
of
without Jordan, as you mentioned.
Yeah, they've done it without some of their best players. So, I mean, if I'm being honest, I'd probably say the Texans because unless there's major injuries, I don't see, I think the Rockets have an argument to be the best team in Houston right now. With KD and the guys last year, they were the number 2 seed. I could see them maybe slipping in the regular season to maybe the 3 or 4 seed, but I don't see them slipping out of the top 4.
John, we didn't include Las Vegas because they didn't have all the 4 major sports, or at least 3 out of the 4.
Yeah. You have hockey, you have football. I mean, me and Mitch were joking, could add the A's, but I think that would overall just hurt. It would hurt your ranking.
Yeah, so if once LeBron buys a team in Las Vegas, which I think that's probably 5 to 10 years down the road, then maybe we'll talk about him being in Vegas. But we also didn't include WNBA teams, which again but there's only a handful, not a handful, but there's 12 teams. So yeah, hey, maybe next time. All right, I'm gonna do one more refresh here on my phone. Can you add Martin Martinez for me?
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Martin Martinez. Also, Darth. Apparently, if I put 2 T's in fat ass, it works. I did not know. What on earth? Oh, this is the
Here we go.
brain rot. 3, 2, 1. Let's ride. Winner of this gonna go home with $215 here on today's show. And I'm just curious of what these are. I mean, is that a dolphin and a banana?
Yes.
That's exactly what it is, isn't it?
Dolphinini Benanini.
Yoda Jenkins with a frog tire. We got the jacked Mark Call Syracuse Orange.
Oh
my
God.
Lord. Who was that Darth or Sean? Sean Irish is a teapot with feet. I don't know what I'm watching right now. Is that a Rhino toaster? Husker Raider, a bat with another bat? Or
That's tung sahur.
he is excited. I'll tell you that. That is a elephant holding an alarm clock. Victor Lobos, something in a coconut. I'll tell you this, Charles G looks like he's been working out. And I think Charles G is going to come away with a win.
Oh, yeah.
Stunting on him. I mean, Richard Kelly right now is getting his orange eaten out by Richard Kelly. Or is that Rob Fravor? I think Rob Fravor's doing Richard Kelly a solid. I think that's what's happening right now.
Munch.
Charles G., if you could please confirm that you just received $215 here on the Raiders Report, that would be much, much appreciated.
Chimpanzini Banini.
Hey, I'm walking here. I haven't looked at how many subs we are at, but I know when I started today's show, we were 49 away from 195,000. And I would like to try to really get there. I'm not going to lie. My boss has been kind of like, hey, let's get to 195. And I get like this time of the year is a little bit slow, but I also do this for a living. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. Before I get out of here, though, I am going to put the link to our NBA draft coverage down below. If you want to get the best NBA draft coverage out there, I can confidently say it is much, much better than what ESPN and everybody else is going to try to put out there. And I only say that because of how bad it was yesterday.
That was bad.
Our chat sports coverage absolutely crushed, and our guys do a lot of homework. They do a lot of research, and they're the best in the biz. If you like what the Raiders Report does, you're going to absolutely love what the NBA draft coverage does.
Navman, you're not the first person to say. He said needs some Pink Floyd in the background of that race. It's a little shroomy for sure.
Yeah, Noah Santana baked potato type of race is the type of race y'all just saw. I love each and every one of y'all. I don't know if Houston's the best sports city right now, but I do think that they're top 5. Appreciate the Tunis top 5 list from Chugs. You guys are going to get more of that stuff on a lot of our live shows. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, Raiders, Browns, Geno Smith up against Shador Sanders. Make sure you tune in the NBA draft coverage. Peace out. Have a good night.